That depends when the diagnosis is made. You know, sometimes people are not diagnosed until they're very far into the disease for whatever reason. And it's very hard to say. Um, you know, I've read statistics that say people's lifespan is shorter by a few years. Now, if your lifespan is expected to be like 100 and it's a few years shorter, you know, that's still a long time. So it's very hard for me to tell. You know, some people, I had one client who was diagnosed with frontal temporal dementia when he was 55 years old. And that's a very difficult diagnosis to have at such a young age because it often does progress quicker. And her husband was told when he was 55, your husband will likely not make it to 70 or 65. So they were giving him 8 to 10 years from that diagnosis. He didn't pass away till he was 80. So, you know, it's so unique for each person, and it really does depend when you've been diagnosed and your other health factors too. That plays a piece of it. You know, it is, I was just looking at some statistics this morning. Dementia is a reason why people die. They do die with dementia, not necessarily because of like an acute episode of dementia, but it could be. You know, dementia is often leads to other physical things like a fall, because people fall when they have dementia or Alzheimer's disease because they're not able to judge balance or judge distances and things like that. So if they have a fall because they've had dementia and then because of the fall they die, it is sort of related to, it is related to dementia, and it's seen as the fourth leading cause of death in North America. I was just looking at the Australian website where they talk about it as the first leading cause of death for women over the age of 65. So I think we die with dementia and we die because of dementia, because there are changes that happen. It does shorten your life. But people do live very long lives with dementia. My grandmother was diagnosed in her early 80s, but she had had dementia for several years prior to that, and she lived till she was 97. She had a very good long life. She lived in long-term care for the last 10 years of her life, but I would say the last 2 were where she was really incapacitated. The rest of that time, she was happy and active and a part of the home where she was living. So people can live a very long time. And, you know, I think that it almost becomes like a chronic illness that is progressive. So it sort of answers your question.